Okay, so we're on part 4 of a discussion around the quantum self and future possible selves, and how to use drama therapy techniques such as the mask making of the future self to bring about change. And I just wanted to share another couple of thoughts around it. So it is tied to this idea of the way that we are educated and the way that we condition ourselves. And if we can use masks to help us expand our repertoire around who we think we are, we can have much greater access to genius, to health, to radiance, to supernatural abilities that are there and available to us, but we just have to teach ourselves how to reactivate these non-linear gifts that we've got. So, for example, if you make a mask that is just the symbol of the window in your mind, or a neurological idea through which you're looking, or it's kind of like a program that you're wanting to write, and you just need to figure out what are the thoughts, what is the information that goes with this program, what's the landscape, what are the perceptions, what are the observations. Then you make a mask that says genius on it, and you look through it, and you in a mirror, and you look at yourself wearing this genius mask, for example, which is something that I've done and did for many, many years with Claire Yanish, and I did that through a company that we put together called the Genius Lab well over a decade ago, and got children to use their innate genius and come up with ideas that are totally out of the box. This is the way that we need to be cultivating the thinkers of the future, so that they can go way ahead in the field of what we have even thought to be possible. They need to be given the wheels or the training to expand into higher dimensions and higher frequencies and vaster landscapes of thought. So we've done loads of future self, genius masks, for example, and had these incredible downloads around actually visiting the future and seeing what we can see. Because the future does exist in possibilities and probabilities, and you can actually visit possible future timelines and download information, and your brain is the most unbelievable quantum computer. It will access information in time and space for you once you learn how to use it. It's almost like a UFO. Your brain can go in any direction. And once we learn how to harness the full potential of our brain, then we become these superhuman ninja genius quantum computers, essentially expressing ourselves in this organic form of experience. So once you learn about the possibilities of that, I did mask work in many places, many NGOs, and the theory, like I said, I put it together through, mainly the initial influence was through the spiritual school, Ramtha's School of Enlightenment in the States. And then I combined it with my own drama therapy training and understanding. And the practice of actually learning to access a future self, it's not really a new thing. There is really no such thing as a future, because we don't really live in a linear time. We only experience time as linear. But from a quantum perspective, it's like a landscape, because everything exists simultaneously, and we can actually, just depending on where we put our minds, is where we will pick up and download that information. So like when a parent is worried about a child and they're thinking about that child all the time, they're connected to that child, they actually are tuning into the frequency of that child to pick up any intuitive information of whether that child's okay or not. So we all do it without realizing that we're doing it. We put our minds onto things and we receive information about those things. We walk into a room and we can pick up information about how different people are feeling. So the quantum field of information and consciousness is, we are receiving it. It's just that we have to learn how to use the lens of our own mind, our own aperture, to put it onto what it is that we're wanting to receive information about. And also, the other thing that can be difficult is how to help people integrate that. So one of the techniques that I used from my drama therapy training was a character called Auguste Boal, who created a theatre methodology called Theatre of the Oppressed, where he would get people to use their bodies to show the problem and show the solution, and then allow their bodies to move from the problem to the solution. And then you would track the biology that would indicate what you had to do to get to the solution. So I have adopted this image theatre from Auguste Boal into my work with clients. And I always get clients to create a future self that they are going towards, something that they would like to experience. It's like window shopping for an experience in the future that you feel is aligned with what your soul is growing into and would really like to experience. So I get a client to draw where they're at now, what the problem might be, and then draw where they'd like to be. And then we use Auguste Boal's image theatre to use the body to show the position of where they're at, use the body to somehow amplify the awareness of where they're at the moment. Say they're stressed and they're holding their hands like this, and that's what represents the now. And then in the future, they want to be more open and happy, and somehow that is the embodiment of what they are showing their future to be, for example. You can also make a mask to help you with that. So then you use the body to go from this to that. And you can slowly map that transition. So what do you have to do to get from here to there? What is the middle road? It's start to let go, start to open, expand, take steps to open and expand. Okay, that's just a very small example, but it can be neurologically mapped into the subconscious, and people have to practice how to work with their body to bring in new ways of behaving into the body. This is like how to program an idea into experience. So that three-step model by Auguste Boal, which goes from the problem to the solution and then finds a transitional image, is extremely helpful in helping people integrate into that future self. So that's also a good piece of research if anyone's wanting to integrate this method into their practice. Look up Auguste Boal image theatre and practice that. Okay, so sometimes there's stepping stones that people can access to getting to the future self, and practicing it using the biology, using the body to create images and sculptures of each stage will help them get there. You can obviously bring those aspects of those steps alive into theatre as well, into a character, and let them get more of an experience of themselves. The other thing which I also do is I get the client to create this future self, choose a space in the room in which they can stand to experience that future self, and then tap into the knowingness of that future self. So I say to them, just imagine that you've arrived there and that you absolutely know the answer. See what information is available to you there. And then I ask them questions. How did you get there? What was the map to getting there? What did you do in order to get there? What advice can you give to yourself from looking from the future back? And that all becomes part of how they arrive at that future self, accessing their own knowing about it. So those are just a few more thoughts around techniques to explore this future self and ways to be integrated in it using creativity, drama therapy methods, theatre methods. See you soon.